Mm, this is. I'm going to have to keep reading my notes. I have memory like as if I have. Honestly, I really do. This is about a guy in Peru. I can't remember his name because I keep. So I'm going to write little notes down. Sorry about this, but it's a good story. It really is. That's why I wrote little notes so I don't make a mistake. A guy called George Alvarez. Now, I'm not from Peru or South American, so if I obviously say it wrong, which I have, I apologise straight away. I hate getting names wrong; it's not very nice. But it's George. When I say George, it's George with Jorge Alvarez. Said at the end from Peru in 12th of January 1977. Well, this guy, he was a student, and it came about. He was on the banks in Peru. Let me just try and, yeah, yeah. Lovely story, honestly. I'm making sure I said his name right. Anyway, we were fishing, and it got highly reported in Buenos Times, I think it was, and then it went on to interplanetary news, whatever that was. I don't know, but lots of things happening in Peru. Hold on, even prove that. And so anyway, it was fishing, and unfortunately, he fell in and he was about to drown. And the story was, he didn't see no flying spaceships or nothing like that, but the story what came about, he was saved by four scaly, what he described as human-looking creatures. And he wasn't drinking, wasn't on drugs, and he's supposed to sound like a nice lad who was at university and what have you. So, he no need for him to admit and sound like a prat, you know. So I can only convince that what he was saying was true. Why would you say such things? You know, he had no mental illness. You know, and if you had, you wouldn't say these things. You know, oh, poor scaly humans just drug me out, save me my soul out of the river. No, you wouldn't say it. No, you wouldn't embarrass yourself. It's but so I can only presume it's true. He was about to drown, and they went in to save him. And he described about 3 4 foot high, that's in human shape, and they'd scaly skin. But the unusual, which we often hear, is they've got 3 fingers. I've heard this many times. In fact, there's some art painting or somewhere, ancient art painting, and it epitomises 3 fingers somewhere. I know there is. I saw it somewhere. Can't remember where though. I say I've got to remember. I can see if I said putting notes down here to my name. But so that's interesting, and it was documented. It was like I say, it was in the Times. It went on to TV, and so it wasn't just. You can easily check this guy out. I say I'll tell you his name properly. It's a guy called Jorge Alvarez, Alvarez. So if you get a chance, have a little look. You'll probably find more about him than I will. But it was hold on, in the river Oh gosh, I can't read my handwriting. Huánuco province. Wherever that is, I have no idea. It says that 420 kilometres east of Lima. Ah, and he fell into a swamp. Yeah, and he described about 3 feet, 3 to 4 feet. So, but they saved him and put him to the side, and never said a word to him, and they went on the merry way. Um, and then when he went back to his family, he was covered in slime and and then it's only when he sat down in quietness he thought, "Oh, I best to tell somebody," and he did. he told his parents, and eventually it got round the town, and newspapers came along, and that was it. But it's not a very famous story, but I believe it. I just thought, which 20-year-old student would say such thing? I've been saved by four scaly little people. You wouldn't. No, it really cramped the style, wouldn't it? You know, it was they wouldn't do it nowhere, and so that's why I believe it. It's and it's that thing with the three fingers again. How many times do we often hear about three fingers? One long, although don't get about being probed. I don't think they've come billion light years way to probe was such a silly. I've come all this way to poke your bottom. You know, I don't think so somehow. No, but it's fascinating how they keep saying they've got three fingers, and you hear this story over and over. Maybe obviously what people say now, that there's more than one type of alien. Maybe there's loads and probably thousands of them, what we don't know about. Maybe obviously somebody does, but maybe they don't know all of them. It could be that many. If they say we are in a dimensional, which we can see we live in a multi-dimensional universe now, I think that's a given. I think generally. So who's knows? Who's to know? I know. Who's to know? Is that right now next to me? It could be me, but in a different form. Saying, what's that prattling about there? But you know what I'm saying is like it's that experiment when you put lights through a little hole. We've all done it when we were kids, and that Carl Sagan had a. I think everybody's had a go at it, and it when you put it through, it goes to different shapes and different things, and it proved that there's interference. That simple experiment showed there's a multi-dimensional universe, and if that is the case, that thing that interacts with the light, maybe these I won't say creatures, very nice. These people, human living creatures, these living beings can adapt, just like we could probably adapt, put an airplane on us and fly around. These can adapt probably in different way, maybe mentally, and go back and forth, or even have a craft what can do it, back and forth with time structures. But anyway, I'm waffling on. Point is, this guy here, he was saved by four little green chaps with scaly skin. Is that not brilliant or what? And it was documented really well in Peru. I don't like what they call it. It was actually documented on the paper Three-Fingered Dwarfs. I know. That's what it documented out. I know. Can imagine if the little green man's looking down. Three-fingered dwarf? I'll give him a three-fingered dwarf. I'll sort, yeah. You know what I mean? It's, yeah. So, yes, that's media for you, isn't it, though? It's just I was saved by a three-fingered dwarf, four of them, with scaly skin, but he describes them being alien-looking, so I think that was brilliant. Anyway, if you like that story, and it is, as far as I know, it's perfectly true. I can't vouch for it. I wasn't there. But it sounds perfectly true, and I love the story. How can you not like it? I can just see it now. The student falling in water, no, she isn't very nice, and these guys going in to save him. Where they come from, I don't know. Was they just knocking him out? Was they fishing as well? But that's what made me think, are they able to access sounds? You know, was that lad meant to do something when he's older? And I thought, oh no, you can't go yet. We've got things for you to do. Be interesting to know what George Alvarez went on to do when he was older. what happened to him. You know, hopefully he didn't just become a bus driver. You know, but who knows? He can still make something called break science, can't he? Doesn't matter. Anybody can do something. We all can. But it's fascinating. Anyway, if you know anything more about that story, please let me know, because I thought it was brilliant. Anyway, God bless. Thank you